I hope that break gave you enough time to catch your breath, because it was certainly a jaw dropper. Moving on to something quite exciting now, though, of course, as we go straight into Liquid taking on TSM. Tim, your name's quite close to TSM, except you have an I rather than an S.
I mean, it is, we're just one character different there, Jackie.
You ain't wrong, Jackie.
It's going to be a real big game, is this one. This recent history between these two teams. Of course, Liquid and TSM facing off against each other. Liquid ending the North American hopes at Six Invitational 2021 when they beat TSM and made it an all LATAM affair. Whew, this is going to be spicy.
You say the word LATAM, I feel the tingles. It start getting flashbacks to last year.
Oh, you pair. You pair.
It's nice, Des. It's good to have you here. It balances out, the LATAM sort of rising tide that's coming up. By the end of the show, we're going to be there just, little Brazilian flags on the face. It'll really start to unravel, mate. You have to keep the balance.
I'm just ready. I'm ready for your wall and Ace's wall to slowly get like a slow fade in, like a Brazilian flag or something just appearing, and I'll be like, great, here we are then.
Just green screen it in. To be fair, we could probably do it with you. Just force it onto the background. You've got the perfect green screen like
paint a couple of yellow stripes across it and we're sorted. Yeah, golden.
It would work. Because, of course, the LATAM squad, the side that we're hyping up about, they need the hype because they're a huge team, a powerhouse of talent from Brazil, of course. Team Liquid. Tim, I'm going to start off with you because the passion's got to be there. Tell me about Team Liquid and tell all these people at home why they should be excited to see them.
Well, we know that this is one of the best rosters in the world. We keep saying this coming into these international lands, and it cannot hold truer. You've got, before you even start with PSK, Moringa and Sexy Cake, which are three players could make it onto any roster in the world, you've also then got on top of that Palu and Nesk. It's been said that if you haven't been run over by Nesk, you haven't played at an international LAN. It is a rite of passage to every international Siege team, and it is just so true. Between the two of them, they will absolutely dominate games, and they are exciting to watch as an entire lineup. When you add in Sexy Cake, Moringa, PSK, they are just so exciting to watch. They just bring that spice, they bring that excitement, they bring that energy, and they just win situations that they have absolutely no right winning.
And already we're hearing his name being mentioned. Nesk, Des, the last time we saw these two teams go head to head, right, it was the name that was on everyone's lips because he went absolutely nuclear. Are we going to see more nautical nonsense coming out from the ship captain himself, Nesk, tonight?
I mean, realistically, if you're going to see Liquid go towards the final of this tournament, which some people are expecting them to do ahead of NIP, is of course everyone's then big question. He went 49-23 last time round. Nested this is. He's the man that everyone turns to expect big performances out of. I remember we stood there at SI watching him shouting across the team in their game, for example. The man's intense. I was there like, even I'm scared seeing him shouting at his team. Imagine if you're around, he turns around and goes, let's go, boys. And you're like, yeah, we're going to do this now. He just gets the team really gassed up in such a way. And between him and Palu, like, yeah, there is every reason to be excited about this team. If they come into this and you're talking about NIP, you've also got to be talking about Liquid. They were the runners up at SI. There is so much to look forward to for them. So much promise in this squad. And you're thinking, maybe now's the time they can finally walk away with that big major win.
But of course, there's one big obstacle in front of them. TSM, a side that has an awful lot of stock behind them, of course, coming into the event. Some murmurs of how they're going to perform with the roster they're fielding this time around, Tim. Do you think they have enough steam to take down Liquid?
Well, let's just put that to bed right now to start with. Yes, there have been roster changes for TSM. Yes, they are still more than capable of winning this tournament as well. So let's not start writing off TSM like, oh, well, Pojo's playing instead of Merc. And, ultimately, this is still a very, very strong team that can come in here and do things. They are coming up against, for my money, one of the best teams in the tournament to begin with. So it's going to be a real test by fire here. They're going to have to come in. They're going to have to come in strong immediately. Yes, the roster changes will potentially have an impact. Gio is back, but Pojo is in place of Merc. But there is still just wall-to-wall talent inside of this team.
Now, out of the 5 players then we are going to be seeing tonight, Des, who's got your money for the big fragger that we're going to be keeping our eyes peeled for?
Apparently TSM irrigated that I just saw flash up in that graphic a second ago. No, he won't be the one that you're looking towards. I think realistically, you're looking towards Bolo. He was the only player for TSM the last time these two teams faced off in a best of 3 that was above a 1.0 rating. The only one I believe with a positive KD overall. He's the big name that many look towards too, and not just because when does Bolo play, but because he is a big player for this lineup. Not at all to say that players like Charlotte on the right day can't clutch up big as well. You talk about Bosco and SSG, to me, Charlotte is the equivalent of that here on TSM in terms of his clutch capability. And surrounding that, you do have other excellent players too. But as Tim said, you are asking questions here. Are they going to be able to deliver without Merc, who has been absolutely phenomenal for them at so many tournaments historically, across stages? This is going to be a big proving point for them to say, like Tim said, we're not out of this yet. We've still got a team that can go on and win this, even playing with Pojo, who, as we all know, used to be a pro before, and a very good one at that. So don't count them out just yet, but I am nervous about the changes they're going to have to make to the team dynamic, who's playing in what positions, and how that might affect them and their prep coming into the tournament.
Coming into the tournament, of course, as well, being back on land. We've had limited lands. And now we finally get another one. Mexico City. You can see everyone here, of course, Liquid on screens now, just getting themselves ready for this. And that's the entire different environment we're going into. Two completely different regions. Tim, we said a lot as well, right? LATAM, they do things a little bit differently. For TSM, are they going to be equipped coming into this to be able to combat that? Has the anti-stratting been there? Do you feel like they're going to be up to speed with the difference of a team like Liquid on land?
Well, I mean, we've got to be fair about this, Jackie, and look at both sides. You and I have seen games where Liquid have been very clearly anti-stratted.
Yes.
You know, it is something that can be done against this team. TSM have studied them a lot for 6 Invitational, and I look at it and I think, are the Liquid now going to be drastically different to the one that we saw a few months ago? And my head tells me probably not. Not drastically different. They'll have some new things, of course, but the TSM are going to have a good idea of what they're going to be going up against here, so that is at least a good starting point. The problem that you get with a team like Liquid is, as we saw on the day back at SI, 49 kills from Nesk across 3 games. It's just stopping them. You might know what they're going to do. It's just actually being able to stop them. I mean, you know, looking at the roster for TSM, let's not forget Pojo Man's been playing a good bit through stage 2 as well, because Gio was unavailable due to some issues for himself. So Pojo Man's not coming into this completely fresh. He's already hit the ground running.
Yes, he has. We're coming out looking to do some damage. And I think we can start to lay the land a little bit in terms of where this is going to go. Of course, the games here on the B stream and on the A stream are going to be best of ones. We've got that round robin format in play. So again, it's still a very important best of 1 to open up with, specifically with both of these two teams as well. You don't want to be going 0-1 to start off the group. Do you feel like there is going to be an impact here in the veto? Could we see them come unstuck?
Ooh, I think in a best of 1 it's quite hard. I mean, truthfully, it's hard to lose a best of 1 ban phase, right? Like, you shouldn't really be walking away the loser when you have the choice to ban 3 maps that you really don't want to play. It's not like you ban 1 map and then get, you know, counterpicked by the opposition. They pick a map that you hate or one that they love. It should be a bit more comfortable than that. I imagine both teams will settle into a mid-ground where neither feels particularly uncomfortable, and fairly so. Thank you, TSM. You are now my new favourite team, removing Coastline from the map pool straight away. God bless you.
Yeah, the viewing angles on that TV, they just don't want to be anywhere near that settee, Tim.
I mean, it's a nightmare, isn't it, Jackie? You know, you've got your entrance where you sit down. Where do you sit down? Where are you looking? Where are you looking on that settee?
You just see in the back of heads. It's like being at the cinema.
Absolute nightmare.
Painful.
Cafe is going to go as well, so we will be seeing a different map compared to the one that we saw in matchup number 1. Chalet taken out by TSM, so we're going to be looking reasonably sort of default here. Liquid taking away Concert. We've got Clubhouse Oregon. Villa's going to be the outside chance here, I'd say, but I think it'll be Clubhouse or Oregon.
Yeah, they're the two kind of staple maps that you step into. I mean, at this point, it's one or the other. I would expect to see here a ban against Villa and it go to Clubhouse, but do you really want to take a team as structured as TSM to a map like Clubhouse? Villa that's a bit bigger, might favour Roma's a bit better. That appears to be the way then. Okay, Villa it's going to be.
Oh my, oh my. All right, we'll be busting out the wine and cheese then for our second game on the B stream. Villa to kick us off here with Liquid taking on TSM. Tim, let's bust out the scalpel and do a little bit of dissecting about this one. Based on what we've got then with Villa to open this up, has this swung you in any way?
Well, I mean, one way to look at this, we've spoken about TSM and the roster. They've had to make changes. Of course, roles will need to have changed within the team. So potentially going to a strat-heavy map like Villa, as we speak about, very strategy-focused, it could well suit Liquid here, because if you're going to catch TSM on the back foot, it probably is going to be in that sort of a scenario, because that's where players are going to have to change around more or fit in to different roles more. Whereas if you got yourself somewhere like a gunfight heavy map, like a coastline almost, I know TSM banned it out, but at least that way you can say, right, there you go, there's your operator, just go off and find some kills. Whereas that doesn't necessarily work somewhere like Villa.
Yeah, I think as well, one of the big factors that could come into play here, Des, is the post plants for a team like Liquid, right? You're on Villa. It's the dream scenario for some of these absolutely outrageous gunners. Players like Nesk and Parlu, you put them in a position where all they've got to do is watch an angle. You're not getting past them.
It's the size of the map as well, right? You enable Nesk or Paolo to get out on their own somewhere, they will come and absolutely terrorize your backline if you don't give them a fair warning with nomads, claymores, whatever you might look towards. What I'm really liking about the map, to be honest with you, though, is that for TSM, this is a map that they very clearly, when you look at the numbers, they love this map. They only banned it away twice over the last 3 months, whereas it banned against them 11 times. They've played it 3 times, they've won every single one. You look at Liquid, this is one of their most banned maps. They normally hate going here. So what this tells me is one of 2 things, because it does kind of play out the same way. They didn't want to play club, which they also ban away an absolute ton, and we're kind of left with the worst of 2 choices here. Had to pick one or the other. Or they've been prepping Villa behind the scenes, knowing they're coming up against TSM in this group, and they've got something really spicy to bring along. I hope it's the latter, because the former would really suck if you're a Team Liquid fan.
Yeah, it would definitely leave you in a bit of a unhappy predicament. And it's a key talking point as well, because I think it's something that obviously Tim, I know it's a while ago now, but it was something that we saw a lot in terms of the LATAM scene, where Villa was getting banned out pretty much constantly, right? So even as you said, if it's not something they're actively playing and practicing, they didn't have that domestic experience, for my knowledge, to be able to actually practice on it as much.
No, absolutely not. And I mean, if we look at Liquid's performances, particularly in big tournaments, sometimes they do have slow starts. And it is sometimes choices like this that you can look back to and think, maybe Villa wasn't the play in that situation. Maybe they've actually lost that map ban a little bit. We'll see within the first few rounds. We'll see very, very quickly here whether this is that they've been keeping it under wraps and they're quite happy to play there, or, like you say, whether it's just been something that they really haven't wanted to play, and TSM have maybe just managed to maneuver this map ban quite well in their favour.
That's always been one of the wow factors that we had sort of, taken under for Team Liquid, was that you can never really count them out, but you never know when to sort of tag them into a game. We saw multiple games. I'm thinking back to a lot of our Oregons back-to-back, Tim, where you'd see them going down 4-5 rounds, looking like they were effectively completely out of action. So they just find a spring in their step and bloom into this fantastic Brazilian flower. Are we going to have a bouquet coming out here to kick us off early on Villa, though, Des, or do you think it might be a slow start?
It's a hard one to call. This is one of those maps that, because it's so big, you can come out and get ridiculously aggressive on play the whole map, play on the roam, look to be disruptive. And that, as we saw, I think, for Navi a couple of times in the previous map, is the best way to slow down these more structured teams from North America. TSM have always been heralded as one of the best aggressive yet heavily strategical teams coming out of the region. So for them, I think if you can get up in their face and cause a bit of disruption early on, get rid of their entries, you're then looking at, 2 supportive players in Pojo and Charla in the back line. Gio's not really a primary entry for them either. They might lack that kind of, lick of aggression that they sometimes need to drive rounds forward. It's all good having those that can make the calls in the back line, but if you haven't got those to put it in action, that's when TSM could get stung. So yes, I do want to see Liquid get really aggressive, get explosive, shut TSM down, don't give them room to breathe.
Now, normally, when we saw Liquid play back during the LATAM seasons, Tim, it was kind of akin to a Dr. Dre album. It was very explosive all the time. Lots of nade kills, lots of nitro cells just wreaking havoc across the battlefield. Are we hoping that we're going to have something pretty rip and stick to start us off? Some big nitro kills coming out from the boys in blue?
I'd love to see a bit of spice coming in from Liquid, because they're a team that thrive on confidence, they thrive on that energy, and the more of it they find, the more success they find with it, the more they will deliver, and you'll start to see players like Nesk, Parlu, the leash coming off, and they'll just be in and around the map making an absolute nuisance of themselves. And yeah, that's what I want to see. I want to see a really strong start from Liquid coming in. we keep saying it, we said it at SI, they're getting closer and closer to this international land, but this is a roster that when you look back on Siege in 10 or 15 years and you think about how did it play out, this is a roster that you will be amazed if they did not win big titles. Simple as that. But as it continues, these chances can't keep slipping by them. They have to come out and win, and I'd love to see just a big, really dominant performance from them to put a marker down that this could be the one.
You'd hope so, because again, being back on LAN as well, it's not just about how loud and how vocal this team can be. They've always had a lot of hype behind them when they play their online matches. Now, back in the primetime environment, on that stage with the hype behind them, you know they're going to be getting loud. But one of the voices that sometimes isn't as heard is the man you can see on screen now, Silence. We managed to speak to him an awful lot, Tim, with the LATAM season. The amount of preparation that went into a lot of these upcoming games for Team Liquid was through the roof. On the flip side, Des, what I want to know about TSM is, do they have that same sort of backbone? In terms of the coaching staff, are we seeing them coming in on a good footing here with their preparation?
I think absolutely. I mean, Dada's a guy that I know quite well. We speak sometimes in DMs. He's friends with a couple of my friends, for example, some more through mutuals and anything. But you see him on Twitter a lot talking about the work that's going into it, the thinking they're doing. And again, you don't become one of these big, well-known strategical teams in North America, one of the best in the region for that particular style of play, without having that support, the coordination that comes out of the team. I've got no doubt a large part of it comes from Pojo, of course, who's in there as well. Dada's the analyst for the team, although in this case is playing or stepping in as the coach because Pojo's playing. But between the two of them, I guarantee you they run a very tight ship. It is very player-led. There's lots of consideration about player circumstance, I doubt, rather than theoretical coaching style. So to me, it's a very kind of raw, not so much bleak, but a very raw view of the game itself. And that, I think, is what can really drag them through against some rough opponents. They know what it's like on the front lines when you've got players like Nesk and Parlin charging around the map and looking to shut you down. So nothing else. They have the tools to deal with the aggression coming out of Liquid. But it's Liquid. You've seen what they can do. They finished second at SI. Like, these things can hurt and sting real hard. So keep a close eye on that.
Oh, yeah. You're going to be wanting to keep a close eye on every one of the Liquid lunatics. Because if you don't, they'll sneak up behind you. And you'll slowly start to realize your entire team has been picked off one by one. We saw it week in, week out with some of the plays from Nesk during the online seasons of the LATAM. It was crazy how effective this man can be at the roam.
It is, it's not just on the roam, is it, Jackie? That's the problem. It's, you force them off the roam back to site. They're super effective there. They can just hurt you from absolutely anywhere in the map. But you're absolutely right to pick up on the roam for Villa, particularly because we talk about how big the map is. Generally speaking, particularly the top floor objectives are largely played within the top floor, so it gives an awful lot of space for roamers to move around underneath on the mid floor, in the basement, and to just pop up from unexpected locations at different times around the round. And that is something that, yes, Liquid, they're not going to be scared to do. And the reason they're not scared to do it is because, let's talk about that backline a little bit as well. Obviously we talk a lot about Nesk and Palu and getting those kills, but let's look at a support player like Sexy Cake, who is just going to absolutely shut down the site given the opportunity. We know his ability with the shields, for example. Not scared of bringing a Clash, not scared of bringing a Monte. Will make the lives of his enemies very, very difficult. Moringa, PSK also in there supporting, just really locking sites down, and just it means that the roamers don't need to be scared, Jackie. They don't need to be scared about taking a gunfight and losing it because they've got such a solid core back in the site.
Oh, they really do. I honestly cannot wait to see what sort of shenanigans Sexy Cake himself is going to be pulling out. Some of the plays we had from him were absolutely outrageous. The shield usage was always on point. Very effective. If you are curious though as why the game hasn't gone live just yet, we're just getting things set up, giving our players a few more moments to get themselves nice and set in position, of course, and then we will be getting underway with this one. So I think now it's probably a good time to set our focus on the actual predictions for this series. Des, I'll start off with you. I know this is going to be a hard one to call. Two very well-rounded sides, a lot of mechanical skill when it comes down to individuality, but also just as an entire squad. If I do have to force you one way or the other, who would you back?
If this were the full-strength TSM, I think it would be a really interesting conversation to have, given how that last series went between them. But I think now that we know TSM aren't playing at full strength, whereas Liquid are, I'd probably back Liquid in this one. I think if TSM come into this and have some level of, structure and composure to them, they'll do okay. But I just think Nesk and Paolo are going to give them an absolute headache to try and deal with. One thing I will give, and the one thing I'm most excited about for Liquid, yes, I think they'll win. What I'm really keen to find out in this game from them in particular, though, is how strong have they got since SI? How much can we see of them in their playstyle that does lean towards that strategical side? Because a few questions have gone around lately of, how long do we keep on saying, oh, LATAM's an aggressive region that can frag? How long do we keep on saying that until we start considering, actually, these boys have got real good team play stats in behind that. That's what I want to see in this game. But on that basis alone, I still think Liquid take it, to be honest, even without that really strong strategical element to their play.
Ooh. Tim, do you feel like this is also going to be a Liquid
I wonder which way Tim's going to go. Man, I can't possibly guess this
There's
one.
There's all this expectation of bias from me when it comes to LATAM. Look, in honesty,
it's very well founded.
Without taking my love for LATAM into account, how do I think this one's going to go? I think we've got two excellent world-class teams stacking up against each other. I'm not going to keep using the TSM roster issues as excuses throughout the tournament. They are going to get wins. Mark my words. They are a very good team, even with the changes. The problem here, I think, is just who they're coming up against. They are, for me, coming up against one of the top 2 or 3 sides in the tournament. And I think, yes, that roster issue will probably create a little bit too much of a gap between these two. I think they'll be very competitive with others. So for me, yes, I still think Liquid edge it, but I think it'll be competitive because Liquid do tend to have slow starts. We've seen it from them previously. They need to warm into tournaments, and it could be a perfect opportunity. It could be much better for TSM to face them now rather than in the 3rd game, for example.
No, you're right. I mean, if there was an opportunity to at least find them somewhat weakened, this would probably be it in the first game of the day. But even without the full 5, the boys are still keeping their synergy alive. TSM getting a nice little huddle in before the game does.
Yeah, I mean, this is the sort of thing that you see a lot from LATAM teams especially, so maybe they're channeling a little bit that inner LATAM power they saw at SI. Every single game, anyone who was there, I remember it pretty well, got together, big shouts across the arena. They just boomed throughout the stock exchange. That's exactly what you'll see now. And we saw the same coming out of the NA squads, just didn't quite have the big, scream at the end of it as well to really get you gassed up for what should be a big game. But I think with them doing this, it gives you indication the game will start in about 5 minutes, I imagine, if you are wondering. But yeah, these team talks at the start, a little pep talk. I think a couple of teams in Europe have started doing it as well. Just a nice way to get everyone aligned on the same page. A bit of belief in the squad as well before what's going to be a very important game. Because let's not forget, you do only get 6 games to give this a go. You get it wrong in 3 days' time, you're on the first plane back home.
And I think this really is where obviously Silence is going to have a good opportunity to stoke that fire that we know is burning deeply inside every one of these Liquid players. We've seen it countlessly in the past when they would get loud, even just from their own homes when they're boot camping. They would still be screaming. They'd be unleashing that into their gameplay when it came to some of the fights they'd be taking. Hopefully here, I want to see that. You're back on land, right? Obviously in their mind as well, there's probably still fresh memories of SI. In this environment, once again, you need to channel that and just absolutely go off. Hopefully, Tim, it'll put them in a good light.
I think it will. I think we're going to see a good start from Liquid. I think they're going to come out, like you say, looking for a strong win. The thing is, what a marker it sets down. Let's not forget the group that they're in. They've got Empire as well to face here. They've got Invictus. It's not going to be easy to get out of here. And there are going to be, coming away from this group, teams who you might have expected to go through, but won't. So Liquid certainly don't want to be that team. And it starts now. Like Des says, there's only 6 games. There's not, this will slip away from you very, very quickly. A couple of losses and you start really struggling to make it out of the groups. You start struggling to make it into that top 2, and we can see here I think the volume's probably going to go up there. We're going to have a good break here. There we go. In comes the break from Liquid. I'd like to see if TSM have maybe got that same sort of energy going on. It is very much a LATAM thing as what we've seen previously.
Oh man, it's good. You can feel it.
Giving me the energy.
Coming through. I know.
I'm ready. I feel like I want a break.
Oh man, if we all pretend, maybe we can do it. If we put our hands in.
Which way would I have to go? Hang on.
If you two go to the
we've got to
side,
go towards Jackie.
I'll go up.
Side.
Right.
Like that.
I gotta go this way, right? You're going towards Jackie.
We're going towards me.
I'm in.
All right, you ready?
Yeah, ready towards Jackie.
2, 1.
Let's go.
Look at that. Siege! Siege! It's siege time, baby! That's right. Games are coming up. We're going to be getting into it. Liquid versus TSM. Oh my, oh my. This is going to be a hell of a bout for the Brazilian boys going up against the All-Star Americans. Des, Tim, have fun with this one. Do a bit of a LATAM send-off for me, and I will see you after this banger of a game.
Thank you very much, Jackie. Big game then. I know a lot of you in the chat are here for TSM, but Liquid, one of the ones that I feel no one can ignore, Tim. They are... I just watched the preview play back on my screen of them doing the little like, yeah. And you just see the whole back banner like wobble, and I was like, please don't fall over. We have no idea what's behind there. Let's not break the stage in your first game, boys. Save it for the final, right?
Absolutely that. Like you say, these are two of the biggest teams at this tournament, both in terms of fans, both in terms of ability, and we're seeing them come together. I mean, we've been absolutely ruined with our first two games. Navi SSG leading straight into Liquid versus TSM. There's going to be a lot of eyes on this game. There's no doubt about it, because whoever comes away the winner here puts themselves in a strong position and a big argument to be a favourite for the tournament, and at least a favourite for like a top 4 finish. You know, if you're coming out and winning this level of game, you're going to expect to be winning more.
Yeah, I think honestly for both of these teams, you're expecting something, or we would have coming in. Of course, with Merc not being here, maybe there's a question to be asked on that front, but we'll give it time once we get into it. Villa is that map that we're heading into. We spoke about it quite a bit already. This big kind of roam-enabling map, if you want to make use of it. There's still that age-old question of, will anyone ever actually play inside of the basement? Because for the longest time, that has simply not been a thing. More used as a method of transit to get across the map than so much being used for actual play. That could change. You never know.
Well, I think the big factor there is the lack of verticality. You can't have any impact directly from the basement. All you can do is come upstairs and hit somebody on a flank. So hence the transit, because, you know, you can't go down there with a nitro and really have any sort of impact on the round. So I think that's why we see it used in that way. But even then, it's only sort of fleeting that we see players drop down there. Occasionally we'll get a pulse appear down there, because obviously there's a lot of information that can be fed through. It's about the one player that can really have some impact from that basement level sort of directly on the round. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just super excited for seeing how this goes for TSM. You know, obviously I said, you know, potentially coming in strat heavy might not necessarily suit them with the changes they're going to have to make. But let's not forget the person coming in, Pojo man, he's well familiar with everything they do as a team. So fitting in isn't going to be difficult. But is it? You know, there's that counter argument of they're just really comfortable here as well. So like, who knows?
We could sit here and debate it all day, realistically, right? But what matters most is that this is the first game for both teams so far at the competition, so you get a flavour for what it is they're all about. Liquid goes straight on from this game to play against Empire in the next matchup, so it's a back-to-back double for them. I thought asking a few coaches they wouldn't like that, but apparently you prefer to do it. So the games, you're all warmed up for them. There's no downtime between it to lose the adrenaline. It just carries over from one game into the next. So for Liquid, if this first game goes well, we'll be thinking it should go pretty well going into the next one as well. I do hear the game is ready, so we'll be getting into it in just a second. Again, I'm not sure who starts on what side. What we do know is that it's Villa, and again, we've got Pojo stepping in for Merc, and as Villa comes up on your screen, there's the sign that it's time to get started, Ace. Let's see how Villa plays out between these two teams.
We are heading over to Tuscany, but this is going to be anything but a holiday for Team Liquid and TSM. They are coming in to what will be one of the biggest games of the tournament, and could be one of the biggest games of some of these players' careers as they look to push forward and take those big titles. Remember, coming in here, we've got 15 teams. There can only be one winner every time we have these international lands. So the few players who count themselves amongst those winners, they really are the rarity, and those opportunities don't come by every 2 minutes. So a good start is going to be super important. We're heading in, and we've got our operator bands coming in. Thatcher, Nomad, no real surprises so far.
No, absolutely looking towards the rotate cuts there coming out of Liquid. Just screaming to me they want to play this one a bit more aggressively, make TSM uncomfortable. You're thinking about the role that seems to be quite unique to NA in the flank watch role. We don't really talk about that much in APAC or in EU, to be completely honest, but for me, that just screams that we want to shut that player down and let the players of Liquid run amok. Valkyrie and Nomad to follow through, same as we saw in the Navi SSG game on Cafe earlier on, so nothing too surprising there. Bans overall, I'd wager pretty normal outside of arguably the Nomads, and even then, not that surprising.
No, we're going to have Liquid starting things on the attack then. So I think the age-old discussions of Villa just straight up being defender-sided are probably gone now. We've seen that even out a little bit, but you wouldn't expect to lose the half on the defence is what I would say. I think, a 3-all is sort of a minimum here. If you can take a 4-2, fantastic. So Liquid, they're going to be looking to come in and really unsettle TSM here. They really want to get disruptive. First round or two, particularly important. We're getting our first Flores pick here on the Bravo stream as well, Des.
We are indeed. That's always an exciting one. I've loved seeing Flores use case in the EU games, mainly because when you're attacking into a site like Aviator game that relies on, potentially mute jammers, when you're looking towards ADSs, when you've got shields being set up, in this case, 2 bulletproof cameras as well, Flores just removes all the risk of exposing yourself as a player. Say a Zofia, for example, stepping around a corner and dropping an impact into a room, or frag grenades being tossed in. The Flores just makes it completely safe to do here. So keep a very close eye on PSK and what he does in the first, say, 1 minute and 45 seconds of the round, because he could have a massive impact.
Certainly could. Now then, we've got TSM holding over in the trophy statuary side of things as well. They're going to just extend their hold here out to the north side of the map. Quite a common attacking approach will be to get established over on that north side and then sweep down to the south side of the map, taking a few kills as you go and trying to get a plant in behind that vault door or somewhere around the maps table that we can see just inside of sight. So Nesk has got his drone inside of Astro. He's going to be straight into a battle with Bolo and Geo if he does look to push in from that side. We've also got Achieved playing down underneath on the mute. He will almost certainly, I'll just double check, have a nitro in hand. Yes, he does. So Liquid, they need to be very careful here. A north side push isn't going to be all that straightforward.
Interesting how you got Pojo playing on the Jaeger, but he's not really playing the hard roaming role. Instead, it's 3 other members of the team. Probably pushing in for a spot that we so commonly used to seeing Joystick do, and no doubt you'll see him in the next game. Of course, Empire versus Liquid coming up straight after this one, but he's on the downstairs trying to do a little bit of roam clear on that Jackal. You can see drones singing around in front of him as well. It's a good start coming out of Liquid, not trying to rush in and go too aggressive on here, but just slowly trying to force the members of TSM back. Bolo now can be the next one to step away. A couple of shots ringing in towards him. Will be able to make it away safely. About a minute or so wasted by TSM, but quite effective in a pushback coming in from Liquid.
That's good from Liquid so far. 1 minute in and TSM have been pretty much completely forced back onto site. So the north side of the map is now Liquid's to control. Bolo's going to get himself up onto the 90 elbow though. Could be an interesting position there just to look at making a challenge onto those doorways that the push will come from. He just dips away as the Gemini clone comes in, will take it out, but needed to, as Sexy Cake was on the upside down rappel of that 90 window as well. Just starts to take a few pot shots down the corridor. 1 minute 30, and we still haven't had a head-to-head challenge just yet.
Absolutely not, at least not to start things out here. Again, it's just a clear work going on. So they've got the top side of the map. They moved themselves down to the ground floor. Swept underneath. Now Moringa's the one playing on these vertical angles. Does he know about the man? I believe it's Bolo who's lurking here just at the south side. Just be careful he doesn't step himself into a bit of a dangerous line. Here comes the Rotero there, and Bolo racing to meet him, wanting to protect both of those ADSs. Looks like he'll fail in that endeavor. That's again why these can be so deadly. Turn your attention towards a drone, you get yourself shot from somewhere else if you ignore them for even a split second. Now destroys so much crucial utility for the defenders.
Pressure mounting on Pojo, man on the main stairs there, just being droned out, and there is some attention from Palu and Sexy Cake towards Studdy. Moringa manages to find Charla through that vertical angle that we were talking about, but Pojo trades one out for himself with a kill on to Moringa, leaving us 4 versus 4, but here comes the push from Team Liquid as they move on into sight. Sexy Cake manages to find one, has the diffuser in hand, will start to try and get this plant down. Out comes the Toxic Babe and the Nitro, so just baiting out that utility, but Achieve manages to find a kill as he moves his way back in. However, Palu, Nesk, the dynamic duo, they find 2 towards the end of the round. 10 seconds left to go. It's all down to Achieve. Nesk, he steps out, starts to get the diffuser down. Big kill from Achieved onto Palu, but PSK moves in from the game room side and finds the final kill for Team Liquid in what was a bit of a back and forth round, but Team Liquid did always feel in control of that one.
They played it really well, considering the size of the map as well. Starting off on the top as mentioned, forcing TSM back inside about 60 seconds. Moringa downstairs inside a library, opening up the floor just to make TSM sweat a little bit. Rotero's flying down 90, a plant attempt inside of Aviator. Liquid were just everywhere, and the coordination there was phenomenal. A plant going down, one playing inside a study, and as soon as the man on study doorway dies off, they don't say, okay, let's try and stick the plant here. No, Nest comes off the plant and immediately goes to rush himself in towards Vault. Someone else joins in from inside a game. Just really good coordination coming out of Liquid, where it feels like no one is truly isolated, but they played as a team in that first round. Very well played. TSM going to have to find something extra up their sleeve here if they're going to be able to threaten the side of Liquid, I think.
So, interesting choice here in round 2 though. So we're going to be heading down to Kitchen and Dining, moving away from Aviator Games. TSM just wanting to mix things up a little bit, maybe catch Liquid slightly on the back foot, but Sexicate does have the sledge. Moringa, the thing is, you're never really going to catch Liquid out with this play because Moringa pretty much consistently always plays bulk, so they're always going to have that soft destruction even if they don't bring the sledge along particularly. So Team Liquid, they're going to look to get themselves top floor control, I would imagine, especially with the volume of vertical destruction that they've got available to them with the sledge and the buck. Geo, Pojo man upstairs on the Vigil and the Mozzie, they are going to be very important pieces of this puzzle to defending Dining and Kitchen. We saw Moringa getting the vertical kill last time around. Liquid very capable of using and exploiting those vertical angles into sight. They're going to want to get hold of Master and Bathroom particularly, because that's where a lot of the important angles come from. But if they move in from the south side, they're going to meet immediate resistance from TSM.
This is it. I mean, look at the lineup coming out of TSM as well, right? The Mute Mozzie and the Vigil. It's kind of it's not quite the full 4 horsemen of death, but it's definitely the 3. Death of drones is the one way you might look at it. Very little information able to be gathered by Liquid likely means that they'll be a bit starved in confidence. You know, you rely on information to say, right, cool, we can charge forward here, we can push up there, we can challenge this guy there. Without that information, it's more intuition and a little bit of guesswork, to be honest. So I think it would be quite right that Liquid will take this one a little bit slower than previous. You see Moringa with the drone coming up red stairs as well. They just want to make sure this south side is clear before they get a little bit too comfortable.
Gemini drone just going in ahead, as you say, just making doubly sure of exactly what they're pushing into. Liquid sometimes can fall foul of the clock. They need to be careful that they don't take too long and let these roamers waste too much time. That's not the case yet. It's just something for us to keep our eye on. They need to be moving the Vigil and the Mozzie along sooner rather than later, so they can start working those vertical angles, because at the same time as working those vertical angles, there's other things that need to happen. They need to have some horizontal angles into sight to take advantage of any of the defenders that are pushed and moved around. That's one of the real key factors of getting that verticality, is to be able to force the defenders out of their comfort zones, out of those spots that they've chosen, and pick them up with kills as they do. But right now, 1 minute left to go, Des, and Liquid have stalled out a little bit here.
They are a little bit here as well. Good grenade coming in, but now comes the wide swing on the angle. Geo wins that one against Sexy Cake. That's the opening kill at about 60 seconds remaining as well. 2 minutes apiece has become one of violence. Nesk bringing one back on the other side. In comes the swing. Nesk a little bit too good for that one. Makes it a double. Is this going to be one of those Nesk rounds, Ace? The ones that are in legend at this point. If he can walk through this one, my God, it would be a great start.
Achieved on Astro Stairs. Just trying to hold off the push that is coming in from Liquid here. You can hear the skeleton key of Moringa just trying to open up the door to sight using those vertical angles. In comes the flashback. Forces Achieve back down the stairs. He decides to throw a nitro as he goes, and he hits him with the fadeaway. Charla gets one onto Nesk. It's 2 versus 3. TSM know where they're coming from. 20 seconds left to go. Surely it's their round, but Palu steps up with a kill from the Jackal. 2 versus 2. It's going to have to be kills as the Fuser is not in hand. Palu tries to push forward, finds one. Can he find the second? It's all down to Bolo on the pulse. He's got the pistol. He finds the shot and takes down Palu, and that's going to be the round for TSM, locking down the ground floor and bringing things back to 1-1.
A close round, mind you, as well, descending into that 1 versus 1 in the late stage, but TSM, Bolo in particular, being the one who pulled themselves ahead, and we clocked about how it was a much slower round. That entry kill not coming on the top floor until the final, 60 seconds or so? It was a slow round, absolutely, but once that happened, that's when things really turned up to 11. You saw the aggression coming out of the members of Liquid. Things really started to heat up. Ultimately, for TSM, they managed to persevere and hold on. 1 apiece, much the same way as the Na'Vi and SSG game started earlier on Cafe.
Very much so. I think, honestly, every game that we're going to see today is going to be close. You're just on that first day where everybody is desperate for wins, everybody's desperate for results and for points, and it's all about not wasting any time. So they just come in and they just don't leave anything on the field. Everything is put down, everything is left out there. They just really do give it everything they can, and it's no wonder that we're seeing another game that is going to be a close one. And we're only 2 rounds in, but I've got a feeling that this one is just going to continue back and forth, as did Navi and SSG.
It's one of those that I'll happily see continuous back and forth throughout the day until we are having a very brief technical timeout, as you can see in the top right corner of your screen. When that's resolved, we will be back into things. I'm told it's a small white noise issue that is being addressed. I think from those first 2 rounds that we've seen, though, you've seen the kind of pace, the fast side of Liquid, the slower side of them as well. And often we do look at attacking teams as a gauge, as, you know, how good is the team? How effective are they when they come up against something that they're not sure how to deal with? And we saw SSG do that earlier on. You've seen Liquid do it in that round a second ago when they had no idea realistically where the Vigil, the Mute, the Mozzie were because of that anti-drone utility they had on their side, yet still managed to almost make things work, bringing it down into a 1 versus 1. It's that adaptability, I think, that is really going to dominate the conversation here at the Mexican Major.
Well, there's going to be lots of conversations to be had, Des, as we progress over the next few days. I always love the group stages because I just love that excitement of seeing. It's almost, I don't know if I'm looking at it the right side. I should be excited about who's going to go through, but it's just about the teams that aren't going to make it, the surprises that we're going to see leave the tournament at this point. You know, at the end of the day, out of all these teams, we've got 15 here. There's only 8 that can progress into that knockout stage next week, and it's just... it's so difficult to call. There are going to be big names that don't make it through, and each one of these games is so important in deciding who that is.
Absolutely. You can see on your screen as well what's going on here. A bit of a tweak to some hardware going on. So once that's resolved, we will be back into the game. Bear with us, guys. And of course, if you weren't watching A stream earlier on, you've been with us on B stream. First off, thank you very much for sticking by us. We did see BDS beat Cyclops 7-3 earlier on. Now, of course, we didn't watch the game, so can't offer too much on it. But BDS did take 4 attacking rounds on Clubhouse. That was with Cyclops starting on defense. So dare I say, an expected result if you think you look at it from the outside here, Race. Like, of course, we'll need to watch it back to understand exactly how Cyclops played. But there's always more games to come from them. And I'm keen to see how well they can do as the, dare I say, flagship team coming out of APAC.
Absolutely. You know, that's the, as you say, they won APAC North pretty easily. You know, it was a great
undefeated, yeah.
You know, it was a great performance from them throughout the regular stage 2, and we are expecting good performances to come out of them. We know what they're capable of delivering, and hopefully that's something that we'll see. You know, particularly for Cyclops, they're a team where kills can come from absolutely anywhere. You know, any of those players are capable of putting numbers down, and that's something we just need to see them start delivering on this international stage now.
And in case you're, of course, curious, over on the A stream at the same time is Team BDS coming up against Team 1. So all the teams quite literally playing against each other on Consulate there. At the minute, that's currently set at 1-1. So we do feel kind of blessed by these constant 1-1 scorelines to start things off. And Cafe was neck and neck earlier on. 4-4, I think we sat up for the longest time until SSG did pull ahead with 3 round wins in a row. So it can be that close when it comes down to it. Again, I'm told we're back into game in just a moment. So thanks for sticking with us through this one, guys.
The thing is, when it comes to close games, that's something that we're going to see more and more of as time goes by, because we constantly talk about this rising tide in Siege, and that is exactly what we're seeing. The world teams, or teams the world over rather, are just getting better and better and more competitive. And, you know, we look at each region, and once upon a day it was 1 or 2 teams, and then now it's 3 or 4 teams, and then in the near future it'll be 7 or 8 teams. And, you know, the more that happens and the closer these teams get in terms of skill levels and ability, we are just going to see these tighter and tighter games. And to be honest, we're the benefactors of it, because every tournament that we get to is just going to be more and more exciting.
Absolutely. More and more fun for us, maybe more and more sweat for the team. So I imagine with Setsuke's headset going back on now, we aren't too far away from being able to get ourselves back into the game. So thanks for bearing with us so far through this one, guys. But you are right, I think. It's gonna really start reaching a real fever pitch. ETA 2 minutes have been told in my ears, so I'll give you more specific information. How nice is that? I think it's going to start reaching a real fever pitch around that end towards day 2, because you said it before we came on broadcast today as well, that you think for a number of teams we're already going to know what the expectation is going to be. That 2 minutes was a lie. We're back into game now, apparently, so we're back in there in just a second.
Yeah, we'll get going as soon as we can do. Don't worry, you won't miss any of the action. We will bring you every second of it. But yeah, you know, it's an important point that you touch on, Des. By the time we get to day 3, there's going to be a selection of teams that are already qualified. They're done. They're already in there. It's going to be those second places that are getting fought for, and there's going to be a lot of decisions to be made on day 3.
Absolutely. Right then, back into the site where it all started in round number 1. Liquid walking away at pretty decisive winners after a good execute inside of Aviator. You'll probably remember that 2 versus 1 onto the sole player that was left alone inside the vault at the bitter end of it. Let's see if TSM can be a little more disruptive, because they did try and have 2 or 3 members roaming up towards the north side, but were slowly scared back by Palu. The drone work coming out of Liquid, it was quite oppressive, to be honest. So for TSM, I want to see him stick it a bit longer, be a bit more disruptive, maybe try and find a cheeky C4 kill here and there. That'll be a way to slow Liquid down and give yourself the early advantage.
Coming into the action phase then, we will see just how well TSM can manage this site second time around. They were sort of pushed from pillar to post last time. They tried to hold on to the north side, forced out of there within the first minute by Team Liquid, and then every angle was covered off, and ultimately it just came down to a rush into the vault, and who could find the last man first achieved, trying everything he could to find those final kills, but shut down. Now Ness looking to get aggressive again. He's just pushing between closet and bathroom, not giving any clear indication of exactly where he might hop into. Bolo held down this position last time around, but was unable to find anything from it. He was forced away. We can see the drones are coming in. They know exactly where you are, Bolo, but this time he's going to hold down his position just that little bit longer and seeing if he can win this opening challenge. Takes a little tickle at Nesk, won't find any damage, and dips away, as does Gio. That's even quicker than last time, Des.
It is by about 10 seconds or so, yep. So again, from Liquid, that pressure, you know, drones, stray gunshots coming out, players pushing you around corners. It's enough to make you nervous that you're going to lose your life at any given moment's notice. So to back away there, the good choice by Bolo, I think. TSM are doing what they can, and again, this Jackal just gets to work. Again, another member of TSM is forced back to site. It's just really well controlled by Liquid so far, just not giving TSM any room to do anything too crazy or exotic or upset someone. That being said, Bolo has found the opening kill at the top of 90 here onto Nesk.
Certainly find a little bit of room from somewhere. We saw Bolo doing that last time. Dipped away and then pushed up onto that 90 elbow, and this time finding some success. And what success it is, taking Nesk off the board. That's always going to be a big moment when you're playing against Team Liquid. We've just got Moringa there looking to push towards main stairs. They'll be aware that Pojo Man's playing there. He was there last time around, and Palu takes the scan. That's not really going to do too much for Team Liquid. It's achieved on the mute that they pick up, but he's back in sight by quite a long time now. Palu looking to see if he can get a peek here. He's not sure about taking that default cam. There's no light to show that it's active at this point in time. I think he was just cautious about taking his eye off the shield of Pojo Man in case he was challenged. Moringa once again using that verticality, Des. It was Charla last time. It's Gio this time. Taken down and leveled up. 4 versus 4, but 40 seconds left to go. Team Liquid need to be very aware of the clock here.
It's all about this main stairs shield that they just don't feel they can unsettle, and of course there are ADSs stacked around it as well. But this has now pushed 2 members of Liquid back where they can't do this, so much so the Paolo was rotated off instead to go and play around study. Goes for a smoke, gets it eaten up by the ADS, can try yet another one. This one doesn't get eaten out as achieved, bringing down Sexy Cake. That smoke should now block some vision and give him an angle through, but he isn't feeling particularly keen here. 10 seconds remain. Pojo finds yet another. They're going for the step. It's all falling apart this time round. Liquid unable to stop TSM, who has shut them down, passed them from pillar to post. TSM taking round number 3.
Much better from TSM this time around. They were able to hold on to those main stairs. As much as they did get forced out of the north half of the map, they kept the study locked down, and they just managed to really make life difficult for Liquid this time, whereas last time Liquid were able to move them off the stairs, move them out of 90, just able to completely surround them inside of sight. But absolutely not this time, and I like to see that from TSM, locking down what should be a defensive site.
Navly Jabbly, good stuff for TSM, showing they can adapt then and deal with the ever-changing threats coming out of Liquid. Another very quick timeout here for you. A quick USB change/fix, I'm being told, should only take a couple of seconds. And I think for Achieve, that was the big round. I can't remember if it worked out to be a 3K for him there, but he got a lot towards the back end of that round, picking off those members of Liquid as they tried to move in for the execute. It just looked comfortable for TSM, not really ever threatened by the side of Liquid, who looked a little bit baffled by that shield. By the way, Sexy Cake is tilting me. He's the only player on the whole lineup who has got a lowercase L in Liquid. I don't know why, but he's that guy.
Don't worry about it, Des. Don't let it get to you. Don't let it get to you.
It's too late, mate.
Maybe he's trying to tilt TSM. Maybe he's hoping somebody on TSM will feel the same way.
He's hoping they're a stickler for correct spelling of a team name. Yeah, God forbid. Small details, Ace, because the round is back underway, and that's a much bigger detail for us to focus on. Round number 4, finding ourselves heading up to Trophy and Statuary. So a change away. Of course, not able to play in Dining Room. It's where their second choice site was that we played in round 2. TSM walked away the winner, thanks to a Bolo 1 versus 1 against Palu. Let's see how Trophy and Statuary goes and see if there's a reason why it is their third choice site.
Teams, of course, having to play away for 2 rounds from a site that they win. We're always very aware at the majors that, we get a lot of new viewers around these big international tournaments, and we want to make sure that you're looked after as well. Everybody's welcome here, of course, and if you're wondering what's going on with the sites, we basically play on what we call a 2-round site rotation. So once a team wins a site, so for example, TSM have just won Aviator and Games site, they have to play 2 rounds on other sites away from that one. Win or lose, doesn't matter, they just have to play 2 rounds away from it, and then they're allowed to go back and do that one again. So if you lose a site, you're able to go straight back there. You're only impacted by that if you get the win on that site. So this time, round 4, we're going to see TSM go into Trophy and Statuary. And as Des said here on Villa, we've got 2 primary sites, generally speaking. It'll be Aviator Games that we've just seen, and it'll be Trophy Statuary, which are the 2 top floor sites. And then usually teams will use one of the lower floor sites as their third choice, which in this case for TSM was Dining and Kitchen, and they managed to get the win there, so that's big for them. They're going to look to lock down Trophy Statuary here now. It guarantees them an even split on the half, and they can push forward and try and get themselves a real advantage from what could end up being one of those textbook slow starts from Liquid.
At this point as well, Chief playing this super well. You're probably wondering, well, he's taking gunshots and backing away, but not trying to challenge players. Why not? His whole aim here is just to remove drones from the side of Liquid, slow them down, make them have to re-drone again and again and again. And sure enough, he's wasted about 40 seconds here because he's killed 2 drones. Liquid have to bring more players onto the south side to get drones going down. They still don't know where he is. That's his 3rd drone kill of the round. Just, again, slowly taking away the confidence from the side of Liquid and almost potentially picking up a Moringa at the same time before he darts away into the place that shall not be named, the basement where barely any players ever play.
As you said, just using that space very, very smartly to get himself away from that fight. Just takes his chip damage on Moringa. He's happy with that. About 48 HP goes by the by, and he slips away and gets himself underneath Kitchen in the basement. But the problem is, even if he's not directly challenging Liquid at this point in time, he's a problem, Des, because he's in the back of the mind. Where's the Mozzie gone? Has he come back up the stairs? We need to try and spot him on a drone. We need to know we've got him. And the longer that time goes on where they don't see him on a drone, the more they know he is still out there in the map and that he's going to be a problem. Achieve coming back towards red stairs here. Just keep an eye on that, because this could be a massive flank in the late round.
Not even a flank, mate. Think about what he's got in his backhand as well. It's a C4 on side. Comes it out with it, but no one's going to get caught out in the explosion. I thought he might hold on to that one until there was a plant that came through inside of Statuary, but it's not to be the case. Palu also taking a truckload of damage, down to about 15 HP. Moringa's at half HP from his earlier fight against Achieved. Really good initial disruptive play coming out of TSM, which is what I said I wanted to see out of them. He's get up in the grill of each other here, cause some trouble, especially Liquid doing that to TSM when we switch half after 6 rounds. But for now, it's Palu looking to colour on the south side. Pojo not quite respecting that one. It's going to be a free kill. Bolo bringing one back before Sexy Cake strikes big on site itself. It's back and forth, but the double kill for Bolo, making a triple, has held the site down. Liquid slowed down too much by TSM, and Bolo strikes big.
Really does at the perfect moment. What an impact play from him. Palu pushing in. He's the last one alive. Finds one. Gets himself into a 1v1 after an unfortunate team kill. But Gio, he makes up for that. The Nitro doesn't matter as he finds that final kill. And that puts TSM 3-1 up. And as I said, don't you put too much stock in those roster change talks.
I mean, at this point, yep, 3-1 up for TSM. Doing well. And the roam play from Achieved, I'll touch on it again, was fantastic. So much time being wasted on the south side, killing off 3 or 4 drones, getting chip damage down, had the ability to play a massive upset and spoil a player on the bottom with that C4. Didn't connect onto anyone, but still made himself known in that round before it was Bolo, the one that will be remembered, who walks away with the 3K. 3 rounds in a row for TSM, and now they get to go for a full site rotate once again if they so choose. That's exactly what they'll do. We're going to start once more in Dining.
Things are starting to slip away from Liquid quite quickly here. They need to put the brakes on and they need to get themselves around, because They're staring down the barrel of a potential 5-1 half here with TSM on the defence, and Bolo is going particularly well at the minute alongside Achieved. Those two really dragging TSM up to the level that we are seeing here. They are going very, very well. Bolo doing particularly great work inside a site at the minute, Des. Just able to really lock it down and make it difficult for Liquid to think about approaching. And the problem that you get there is that Liquid spend a minute and a half of the round trying to clear out roamers like Achieved, trying to close him down, trying to find the kill. And then, mentally, they've still got to deal with Bolo in sight. It's a problem.
Well, consider about how the rounds have played out differently so far, right? Aviator and Games, the 2 times we've seen it, it was Bolo being the one that was roaming up towards the north side. On the rounds they played down towards the south side, or sorry, played towards the north side, that's when you've seen Achieve being the one roaming down towards the south. So a good rotation of player roles here, all taking on something different. Pojo dropping away from playing on the Jaeger and now is playing on the Mozzie, for example. Good rotation across these sites of different roles being picked up here, all with different intents. This is the same thing that we saw in round 2, though, where it was the heavy anti-utility or anti-information style comp with the Mute, the Mozzie, and the Vigil all coming along together.
Geo getting picked up on a number of drones there, but he'll then be able to just use his scanner to take himself off the grid once again. That Vigil gadget just making him invisible for a short period of time to any drones. He's not obviously invisible to other players, but to drones at least. So he'll use that, just try and get himself off the grid. He'll try and sneak away into the map once again, just to give himself the opportunity again to waste time and keep himself unpredictable. Palu is looking to move in underneath while Nesk works directly up above him. You see drones are just flying ahead of Nest there, just trying to get him as much information as possible. He's going to be using the Gemini clones as well, just to again try and locate any of those TSM roamers. But once again, half of the round wasted by this TSM defense, and they are doing a great job of that. They're showing us a real masterclass here in how to burn the clock down.
It's almost like you're just always dancing around the edge of the danger zone here, it feels, as well, because there's a Jackal on side, there's Iana. There's so much that really should be able to threaten these roamers, but as it stands, they're not really able to do that. Another big C4 coming out from below onto the same spot as the prior round, but not enough to get anything finished off here as another track comes through. The question is, does he really want to try and look for a push here as well? Because if you try and do so, oh my god, a nice spray coming through. Oh, has he narrowly missed him as well? That could be a kicker. If he manages to get himself caught out here for Paolo, that could be a real stinger.
Just briefly see the man move across the barricade there. Won't be able to get the kill, but does find Achieved. It is ultimately, Achieved, who he saw through the barricade, who tried to rotate onto him, but Paolo was just alive and alert and ready for the danger there. Sits him down in the living room and takes him out of the round. Moringa finds Pojo, man, with a headshot. 5 versus 3 now, as Liquid find the advantage that they've been so desperate for in the last couple of rounds. Palu takes Charla out as well. Nest onto Geo, and it's starting to look easy for Liquid as it's a flawless round, and they bring themselves back to within touching distance, and they want that even split at the half.
I mean, a very different round to prior ones, right? Where again, we saw the 3 rounds in a row going the way of TSM and thought, surely they can't run away with it. Questions have been answered there, where Liquid have bounced back in style. Big question mark, I think, over Geo there, who saw the man for a solid second before he even thought about, maybe I should shoot back. By the time then, he was already dead. Bit of a messy round from TSM, did snowball away from them pretty fast, but well played by Liquid to get it over the finish line. Aviator game is going to be where this half ends. TSM starting their final defense down on the south side of the top floor.
There's going to be an important defence here from TSM, because you just feel if they come in at an even score line coming into their attacking half, that could be where things get a little bit more difficult for them. But for the time being, they are doing pretty well so far, so good. As you say, heading back to AVG, it's 50-50 so far on this site. 1 win, 1 loss. They will be looking to just extend that, as I say, trying to get this one locked down, trying to get it to that 66% win rate for AVG before moving on to the second half of the game. Now, Liquid, they need to find those roamers. We saw them manage it last time, take down Achieved as the opening kill, double down, get themselves to 5 versus 3, and it feels like that's where TSM start to have the difficulties. If they allow them to burn too much time and allow them to start picking up some kills, it can be a real difficulty then for Liquid to try and push on and get the round. So early first 30 seconds to a minute here, very important for Team Liquid.
Absolutely. Okay, then let's see how this one works out. Again, we've always seen these 2 members, Geo and Bolo, being on the roam. Geo the one that backs away first after a bit of early contest, and then Bolo is the one who steps away about that 45 to 60 second mark. Hasn't yet really ever achieved anything there. Not really much intel taken out, for example. Achieved actually going to be the first one that goes down here on the Mute. Not really a pick you expect to see going away so early on, but down to 5 versus 4 for Liquid this early in the round, that's definitely not a bad start.
We've got a bit of a problem now, Des, and that is Palu. He's got 3 entry kills in the last 3 rounds. He's up to 9 overall, and he's really starting to find his feet, and this is what we've said. If either him or Ness can do that, and they start to build that momentum and confidence, then the game can start to quickly run away from your Bolo. This is a kill that he needs to find. He sees the man, but he can't hit the shots. Loses a lot of HP and has to dip away from that fight. This is going to open things up for Team Liquid now, as Geo will fall away without that support as well. Bolo cannot aggress into 90 corridor as he did previously, getting himself a kill onto Nesk last time we saw them defend this site. So this is now going to have to be a different defense from TSM. They can't rinse and repeat anymore. They're going to have to start finding kills elsewhere.
I mean, this is the kind of round where you look at it, I think, for the side of Liquid and say, hey, with that opening kill, you've got that numbers advantage, you've got the pressure advantage. Kicking themselves if they can't bring this up to that 3-3 scoreline that you mentioned. Bolo, this is where he found the entry kill just a few rounds ago. Actually, I believe it was onto Nesk as he came pushing down this 90 corridor and got himself tagged by Bolo. So keep a close eye on whether or not there will be a repeat up there. With him up currently on 20 HP, though. Maybe not something you're looking for. Almost loses his life there. The wall bang, enough damage reduction to keep him alive. But Bolo down to now about 5 HP. One more bullet and he is done for.
Pojo going to be holding down those main stairs. Moringa just doesn't really worry about him too much. He gets himself into library. We saw in that first round he seemed a little bit cautious of the main stairs, but he just doesn't worry about it any longer. Bolo going to lose even more life there as the Vulcan shield is destroyed as well. So that forces him deep back into sight with Charla now. We've got Geo inside of the vault. Nesk is pushing the map's door and Liquid need to get something moving here. 30 seconds left to go and things just feeling like they're stalling out a little bit, but it is time now for Liquid to put their foot on the gas and to really accelerate them through the rest of the round, and that's going to be the start. Sexy kick onto Bolo. Geo goes down as well, but Pojo man comes up big with a kill onto Sexy kick for the trade. 4 versus 3, but it's effectively 4 versus 2 with the man down but not out. Pojo's going big here, finds himself a second. Can he make it 3? He's facing up against Palu. No, shut down as the double comes in. Palu it was, a down Geo, and finding that final kill locks it down 3-3 on the half, and Team Liquid, they're fighting back, Des.
I thought for a second there was no way they'd be able to swing that one back. The smoke cannons just blocking off the aviator entrance from Nesk. Pojo, 2 huge kills coming up there from the main stairs as well. One lower down, one when he popped his head up above the parapet and found himself a kill. But ultimately couldn't do enough to stop Palu at the very end there to give themselves something to go on. Palu, 11 and 4 in that half. Almost 2 kills per round. The man has been absolutely nuclear. And we mentioned Nesk and Palu as a pairing, as individual gunners, also equally terrifying.
Going to be heading into Liquid's first defensive round then. Now then, question is, who's going to be out on the roam? I'm very interested in the roam game from Team Liquid here. We've got Palu hitting 11 kills so far, finding his stride, really starting to cause a nuisance of himself. He's on the mute, but he's got the shotgun. Obviously, there's the potential for the SMG secondary. Nitro in hand, he's likely to possibly play downstairs, but we'll probably see a similar role to that of Achieved, who, when he was on the mute, played downstairs, but didn't really aggress too much. As soon as he was challenged, he moved himself back up and wanted to keep himself alive on site. Now, Nesk on the Wamai could be a different matter. He's going to be playing over to the north side. They've got the reinforcements and the shield there, really looking to hold down the trophy statuary area. As you can see, the difference with TSM's defense is Bolo was leaving part of the triple wall open and trying to take an aggressive angle in towards Closet. It saw him pushed out of there quite frequently. This time, Liquid, they're not going to do that. They're not going to play that quite as aggressively. It looks like they're playing it more to keep themselves in that position for as long as possible.
Big interesting change coming in for TSM's lineup here compared to, say, that one of Liquid is there's a hard breacher on side. You recall, for the side of Liquid, basically all of their attacks were Buck, Flores, Sledge, Iana, and Jackal. No hard breach in sight, which is quite a scary concept when you think about that coming into a map like Villa. It did mean a number of walls stayed closed, but that didn't really seem to phase them for the most part, except for the final round, when they brought along the ace instead. So already a small stylistic difference being shown between the two teams here. And of course, you can't ignore that big yellow icon in the middle right of your screen. Charla bringing along the Lions, something that we also saw Na'Vi doing in the previous game.
That's a big play from Bolo to start us off there. We can't ignore that Rotero drone going in, clearing out a deployable shield. That was actually a Vulcan shield and 2 ADSs from main stairs. We saw Pojo hold on to that position for just absolutely bucketfuls of time last time around, but that's not going to be the case for Team Liquid here. Moringa's going to have to take very difficult challenges here. The gunfights are going to come to him. He's going to need to hold this down. Bolo's going to send up another Rotero, just locks it in so that it takes out that barbed wire there. Everything is clear here. Out come the Toxic Babe canisters, but there's still 1:30 left to go, Des.
Yeah, think about how long Pojo sat behind a shield, essentially uncontested, back in that first half, and driving that, I think, straight into a wall so they can run the clock down, and they'll try and get it maybe driving their way forward. In comes the Lion Scan grenades up there as well. He cannot run away. Great coordination coming out of TSM to clear Moringa off those main stairs, and with 75 seconds still to play, they've got bucket loads of times to make work here, Ace.
Oh, that's fantastic from TSM. It's just absolutely beautiful, just like clockwork. You just see each team member playing their part, the Rotero drones, the nade, just everything in place to take Moringa down, and the pressure will mount now. Liquid need to find themselves some kills here. They don't want to be coming into a late round execution at a man disadvantage, and TSM able to just swarm over them in a way. But for now, Nesk, he puts out the impact nade there, just looking to take off any hard breach utility that could have been on the wall there. So TSM need to be careful. They don't want to stall out. Gio's looking to push forward. Diffuser in hand. He's going to open up. The attempt at the plant, I would imagine, is going to come in behind bar. So what they want to do, they've blown the wall there at the bottom of 90 corridor. They just want to push directly in. PSK is in a very important position now, but he's going to start getting challenged. It doesn't matter though. He's got Nesk and Sexy Kate backing him up. 3 versus 3 as Gio finds a trade. And there comes Achieved. A big play from him once again. But look at the clock. 10 seconds left to go. 2 versus 2. And there's still that man Nesk who's making a big problem of himself. And now it's all about that moment. And who should it be with the double? But Nesk stepping back into sight and finding the final kills.
I mean, have you been to a major until you've been domed off a map by Nesk, was the question that you asked, and I think TSM have just had their experience of that. Not that they haven't before, but just a reminder
they're
of how
well
bad it was
versed with
last
it,
time.
to be fair. They're thinking not again right now.
Yes, absolutely not again, because it looked so good for them at the start of that round, I thought, too. Really good push coming up main stairs, had some pressure inside of Study, but as soon as the hard breach started getting denied, that's when you saw them all kind of funnel in towards the bottom of 90, and it was all too simple for Liquid to just play those nice long angles and pick off members of TSM as they pushed their way through. They kind of faltered a little bit there, got a little bit lost, and it let Liquid find themselves a bit of comfort to walk away with the round. 4-3 to the LATAM side.
As I feared, Des, this is where I think the tide might start turning for Team Liquid. Now that they're on defense, TSM have to be more adaptive. They have to come in here to defensive setups that they can't really plan for until they see them. And whilst they're on defense, you know, they can do the hard yards before they get into the server, and they can say, right, Merc's not available, Pojo, you're going to play there, this is how we're going to play around this strat that we normally do. Whereas now they have to come in with a loose idea, and they have to be able to move around and change and adapt as the round develops, and that could potentially be a bit of a sticking point for them. Liquid able to get themselves a first. They're going to be happy to just hunker down on sites here and take those gunfights in the late round as the clock is ticking away and as the pressure is mounting on TSM. Nesk, a beautiful triple at the end there. That puts him on 8 for the round, and if he starts rolling on defense, this one could be a short half.
I mean, the prior round, you had Paolo walking away with the 3K, so 2 big rounds from the 2 gunners that everyone loves to celebrate on the side of Liquid. I want to see more of that from them as the tournament wears on. Right now, it's 2 big rounds that have gotten 3 back-to-back. Let's see what Paolo can do hanging off to the south here. I think there's a little bit of pressure coming in. In fact, it's Paolo and Ness being the ones on the south side roam. Just looking to pressure the members of TSM, but they're the one being pressured out. Ness still wins the gunfight against the Chief, but it was that early trade, finds a second. Is this where he starts to really pop off? Because here, he's now 1 kill, sat behind him. What a shot coming out of Nesk. A triple kill, completely shut down the side of TSM. They're left scrambling, rattled for ideas. They finally shut him down, but not before Ness has completely killed any momentum behind this attack.
It's the very decent young man, Charla, who manages to move in and ultimately take down Nesk, but not before he's proved an absolute nightmare for TSM, taking 3 off the board, and TSM could be forgiven right now for thinking, not again, Des, not again do we have to face up to Nesk as he starts hitting his stride. 3 versus 2, plenty of time left. That is the big bonus for TSM here. They need to use those drones. They need to find out what's going on site. How have Liquid adjusted now that they're down to 3 men? Where are they playing? Where can we take these fights? In goes a Rotero drone from Bolo. Will it be challenged? No, it manages to anchor down and will clear out the shield of Sexy Cake. So that forces him out of position. Good first step for TSM. Out goes another Rotero, looking to clear more utility. They just want to open up the path and allow themselves to take the gunfights on at least a fair field of play here.
It's that Flores again. We always speak about it and the damage it does without any real risk for yourself. I think here there's so much more they need to be looking for as well. Find themselves in a spot where, well, they've cleared out what they need to. They've got the numbers advantage. They've held on for so long. Liquid this is. But for TSM, yes, there's a little bit of work. They've had Bolo dropping down a couple of those Roteros. It's not going to be enough. He's down to about 20 HP. These long angles can be challenged at pretty much any given time. With 30 seconds to go, that is a nice shot. That's one, but can he find himself yet another? Expects a man to his right. Knows that one must be playing here up towards Astro. Waiting for one to come around and peek on this corner. There we go, but Moringa, he looked away at exactly the wrong time. Was getting out of his laydown spot. A closeout for Moringa and PSK. Liquid take the 4th round in a row and start propelling themselves towards this victory that we thought they might find, Ace.
Well, you've just seen a great example of the problem there. We know how capable Bolo is. He can turn around a situation like that. He can win a 2v2. Absolutely not a problem. But time is ticking away for TSM now. They don't have that comfort to be able to sit back and allow things to happen for them. They have to get aggressive. And when you get aggressive against Team Liquid, you expose yourself. And that's when they're going to start hitting the shots. And that's exactly what happens. So for every round that Liquid can get themselves an man advantage at about the halfway mark, it slides massively in their favour, unfortunately, for TSM. If that's 4 versus 2, coming into that second half, it's not going to be easy from there on in.
Absolutely not. Alrighty, let's see how this next one plays out. They're going to be defense of the downstairs offsite. Those two going back to back for the side of Liquid. That Jackal Bolo is saying, look, enough is enough. We need to deal with these Romans. So now you're looking at the Lion, you're looking at the Iana, you're looking at the Jackal. 3 tools they're bringing along to try and control players like Nesk and players like Palu, who have given them a massive headache so far. Look at them both, by the way. 11 kills. Over 8 rounds, they've got 22 kills. Almost 3 between them in a round. That's on average per round. It's unbelievable what they're doing. But we knew it was going to happen coming into this, right?
It's the expectation. It is absolutely the expectation for this team. I mean, we've got to shout out Achieved and Bolo on the other side as well. 17 kills. They're not a million miles behind. Could just do with them stepping it up here in this round number 9, to just try and push around over the line for TSM. Get one back on the board, get themselves back within touching distance, and then you start to feel that it's possible. Now, I've got Nesk underneath. All I can see is the pulse icon above his head. He's got the nitro in hand. He could make a real nuisance of himself here.
It's interesting because it's almost like putting a limiter on him in a way and just saying, look, sit on site for a bit, play with the pulse. We know you've just gone nuclear, but chill out, man. Breathe a little bit. It just pops off and won us around, essentially. Give it a second, man. It's okay. Just breathe. Let others play the game of Siege every now and when they want to. But looking at how it's sort of set up, you can see they had the Jackal out towards the west. Bolo here playing on the Wolf window. Just looking to find this one man that I'm sure they will not be able to find in this case as well. Can't see any of the footsteps. Doesn't know that he's here. Paolo could get a massive swing off as he does finally get pinged out. And now they know there's a man playing around 90. Oh, the longer angle is there. Pinged out yet again as he backs away. Pojo being the one to find one. Charla into a second. TSM finally getting something done.
This is it for TSM now. This is the momentum that they needed. Let's drive forward and get this round and keep it competitive. 5 versus 3 now. As you say, big opening kill from Pojo, double down on by Charla, and it forces Liquid largely back to site. PSK is inside of there, but Nesk is not. He's holding himself on the pulse off site, and if TSM don't just get a handle on exactly where he is and keep him locked down, he could be a real problem maker come the late round. For the time being, PSK is trying to keep them off opening this wall. He's got his electrical in hand. He's just trying to make life difficult. Nades are raining in, utilities being cleared. PSK is feeling some real pressure inside, but as you say, he manages to stop them opening one wall. That's a great start for Team Liquid. 50 seconds left to go.
It's the electric claw that he used as well, because he's kind of dug it into the, like, cabinet thing in a way. So rather than being exposed to above, it's not so easy to remove. Look, you can see it there, tuck in. So it's just about hidden from the vertical angle. Really smart. They might be able to get it if they open up more of the flooring. In fact, I think he just got it there on the sledge. Yep, now it's gone. I was going to say from the angle they had, they couldn't see it. So it was smart. It's taken another 20 or 30 seconds off TSM. And now they've got to go pushing in pretty much raw to try and challenge onto PSK, who finds the one that he needs. Geo dropped down. In comes the final lion scan. In fact, they've got one more left after this as well if they want it. This is where they should be able to make something happen, TSM. But Nesk is still alive.
Oh, if you remembered, as I said at the beginning of the game, the real freedom that Liquid have on the defense is the strength of the core that is back on site. There we go, Ness trying to pop up from the basement, shut down by Charla, but still 2 versus 2 now. However, achieved with a massive kill onto PSK. That's going to allow Charla to lock in this diffuser. It's all up to Palu. It's a trade, but it doesn't matter, as that's TSM closing down the round. But Liquid so close to fighting back from 3 versus 5, and this is why you can never count them out of a round, because they've got a player in PSK who's been quiet so far this game, but it's because his moment has not arrived, his moment to lock down sight, which he will capably do, and attempts to do so there. But let's not take away the efforts of Charla in that round. He got a great kill at the beginning, a great kill to finish things off, get the diffuser down. Beautiful play from him.
And Chi stepping up as well, the one normally just, playing the soft destruction on the sledge, and normally leaving others like Bolo and Merc to be the ones that really go massive for the team. But he's stepping up in Merc's absence, which is wonderful to see, and keeping TSM very much in the game. Yes, they're still behind for now, and yes, one more round for Liquid would at least get them to the point of guaranteeing overtime. Now they go down to Aviator Games, one of the strongest sites on the map to defend. That's where I feel a little bit nervous. Let's not forget in the prior round, it was about the hard breach denial plus the longer angle shots being taken by Nesk that got them the round win. But TSM did start strong. So keep a close eye on main stairs, see how effectively they clear it, because that's where they really shone the last time around they attacked this site.
Certainly is. There was no holding on to it. The Rotero drone particularly. The setup is very similar. Deployable shield, it's Volcan. We've got 2 ADSs there. Last time that was undone completely by 1 Rotero drone. So if Moringa's going to play out there, he has to be laser focused on those drones coming in, Des. He's got to hit his shot on it. It's as simple as that. He can't allow it to go in and clear that utility out as easily as it did last time.
Absolutely. Well, at least this time around, no Jackal. That's been dropped away. Bolo going back onto playing the Rotero wielding Flores, one we've seen quite a bit in this map so far. And the Lion are going to stay present as before, alongside the single hard breacher in the Habana. Clearing out that main stairs should be the big focus. I think, again, you can see there's a shield here. There's 2 ADSs. There's the barbed wire stats up there. All stuff we're used to seeing. As of right now, no one playing on it. Imagine they're hanging around at the top of the main stairs. If Bolo can just get in and clear this out for free, that's a big problem. I don't know if he gets it all here. I mean, that was further range than I expected. It did get one of the ADSs, to be fair. Did he get the shield at the top as well? Surely not. Surely they cleared that out with...
He certainly didn't get the barbed wire at the bottom, so there's still going to be a need for another Rotero drone to go in. But now with the distance between the barbed wire and the ADS left, you've maybe got 2 needing to go in. But with nobody really actively playing there, I don't think they need to worry about it too much. The fight instead is largely going to come over Study and into sight. Now, Nesk and PSK are looking to just hold down those angles and prevent any push onto the single map store from Study. The EU1D scan will go out and just freeze everybody in place for a second or two. And back to action now. Pojo takes a lot of damage there as he finds himself down to about 44 HP, but achieved it is with the opening kill, and he's been going fantastically well on the entry so far, using a nade this time to find Moringa.
Excellent start indeed. Yeah, the small advantage they want here. This is where they got kind of hung up last time, mind you, is when Ness started clearing this off with the impact, sort of spraying it off as he'll do now. No real concern for them, of course, looking for something there on the side of the attackers to get that lower case opened up. They have an angle then inside of where Sexy Cake is playing inside a game room. Simply not going to be a case because Nesk is just happy to sit here and play Guardian for that wall. Stop it being opened up.
He's going to get aggressive if he gets the opportunity. Mark my words. If he thinks he can step out here and find himself a kill or 2, that's exactly what he'll do. And look at the headshot onto Bolo. You just cannot compete against a player who is going to hit shots like that. Out goes the impact nade to just clear off any X-Kairos pellets that could be on that wall. And he's looking to get aggressive onto that door again. So much confidence from Nesk playing this position. He will be hit with some explosive damage, but still finds himself alive and able to continue fighting. Out comes another nade. Will not move him. 25 seconds left to go.
Man's endured 2 frag grenades at this point as well. All the pressure and attention. The Lion scans, and they still can't unseat him at this point. Ace Pojo right up against the wall, looking to have something inside the vault, but no one is moving. 2 members of TSM hit the deck. Next goes massive. Finally shut down from the north side, but it's a 1 versus 3 achieved. The only one still on his feet here, and I think for the side of Liquid, this should be an easy shutout. They'll move up to match point as Palu collects another. Nesk, again, the terror of Aviator.
They just absolutely could not unseat him from around that maps table. There was just absolutely no way to move him. Nades came in, challengers came in, and he just dealt with them one at a time, one after another. And what a beautiful performance it was again from Nesk to hold down Aviator Games. That puts Liquid on match point 6-4, and they've got the opportunity to close it out. Now, it looks like we're going to have a timeout. I'm going to guess this is from TSM, just looking for that opportunity to have a little chat, slow things down, and just try to get anything going here, because this is the last chance saloon now.
Understandably, TSM calling a tactical timeout here as well. A couple of conversations to have, because they know this is, as you say, their last chance saloon. 1 round to get this right, or Liquid walk away the victors at 7-4, which would be a match of the scoreline we've just seen come out of the game over on the A stream, with BDS walking away 7-4, starting the day 2-0. Good start for the European squad, and Liquid looking, I imagine, after this game and their next one against Empire, to also be on a similar scoreline.
It's all down to Liquid now to show that ability, that professionalism to just close this one out. They don't want to be letting people get close to them. If they want to be serious contenders for this tournament, this is a good opportunity to send a message. TSM, we know, are an extremely good squad, so just getting this locked out now, done, 7-4, first opportunity. It sends a message. It sends a message to teams like Empire, who they're going to be coming up against, and it says, we're here to play, we mean business, and it just sends that wave of fear out ahead of them.
That's it, isn't it? That terror of, oh god, but they've had a really good start. We didn't have such a great start, or we haven't played yet, for example. We've got to come up against a team that are warmed up, ready, motivated. There's a lot to consider for Liquid. Not a lot to consider about their next side choices. They won Dining and Kitchen earlier. Now having just won Aviator Games, the only real viable site for them. Viable in their books. Living and Library, I assure you, can be played, as you've seen a few times in EUL. This now is looking up instead towards Trophy and Statuary. Now, in terms of changes for operators, nothing massive coming out of the side of TSM. I thought we might see a bit of a change in style here. Maybe bring something else along that opens up the round for them a bit more. No, still very much the same as we've seen in prior rounds.
It is. It is very much the same. We'll see if they can get a different outcome or not. PSK is going to be downstairs, just looking to a bit of reinforcements and a bit of utility down there in Dining and Kitchen. Obviously not wanting vertical angles used against them. It's not something they're likely to find. I think also it's about keeping Moringa safe down there on the mute if he chooses to play down there. He's got a Nitro in hand, so it is an opportunity for some vertical play in the other direction as well. And it just gives TSM one of the, again, you know, speaking towards people who've maybe not watched too much competitive Siege, and you're looking at a situation thinking, you know, why defend so far off site? Why move away like that and use utility that could be directly on the site? And a big part of it is about time. Obviously, if you've got a player with a Nitro, for example, underneath, you can have an impact on the site. So he has to be dealt with. TSM have absolutely no option here other than to come in and to deal with Moringa. And by having that utility, those reinforcements, it just takes longer to do it. It gives Moringa every opportunity to maybe take a kill with him, to waste an extra 30 seconds to a minute. And that's why they do it.
Let's see how this round plays out then. Round number 11 for those of you no doubt just joining us across from Stream 8. First off, welcome to existing LATAM domination. Lots of expectations on Liquid in the tournament so far are finding their way past the side of TSM, and 2 massive kills to start the round. That is not the way that TSM would have envisioned this. They were getting themselves positioned below to make use of those nades and have been completely clapped by the side of Liquid on that roam.
As I said, they had to go in and deal with Moringa on the mute. They had absolutely no choice, but by playing into it with the utility and the reinforcements that have been positioned there for him as well, it funnels attackers. It forces them to approach it in a certain way, and in doing so, Moringa manages to find himself a kill, and we see Liquid doubling down as well. And that now leaves it all up to Charla, Gio, and Bolo. They have now got 1 minute 20 to rescue this opening game for TSM, and it's not going their way, Des. It's going the way of Palu, and Nesk once again flows goalless for Liquid. They shut down the opener. They put 3 points on the board, and they send a message to the Mexican major.
A big one at that as well. TSM not without contest, and a good few of those rounds look strong, especially in that 3-round burst. Rounds 2 to 4, they did look good, but Liquid unfortunately just looked better. Nesk and Palu, look at them, by the way. 30 kills between them. How are you ever going to stop something like that? Unbelievable game from them. You know, I'm looking down my little notes here as well. Round 6, 3k for Palu. Round 7, 3k for Nesk. Round 8, 3k for Nesk. Round 10, 3k for Nesk. You ain't stopping them, Tim.
You're really not. And we've seen this before. We've said, you know, it's almost like it's not your decision to make. As soon as Nesk and Palu think, you know what, that's it, we're winning this one, it's out of your hands. It's done. It's just down to whether they can follow through on it or not.
It's absolute madness is the only way I can describe it really to you, mate. I mean, they've got to play again, the second against Empire. Let's not forget, so we'll see if the Europeans fare any better. For TSM, not the start they were looking for, and maybe a sign of things to come if Liquid do manage to top this group. Never knows how it plays out, but I'm told Jackie, the man himself, is ready to rejoin us, and I'm sure he's feeling very, very happy about the LATAM victory there, as I'm sure you are as well, Ace.
Well done, boys. You've done us all proud. Honestly, I felt like I was out in the garden looking at the night sky, because all I saw was stars, time and time again. Outrageous clutch play. It was crazy, right? We come into that game and go, what, 3-1 down? It's looking like Liquid have overslept. Someone needed to go and wake them up. I thought they were all still in their hotel room having a sleep, but out of nowhere, the alarm goes off apparently, and the alarm was one man, Palu, just popping off for all of the attacking half, Tim.
Well, I mean, the thing is, he kept him in it, didn't he? You know, TSM were threatening to really get themselves a decent lead built up, but those 11+ kills from Palu on the attack just kept them in it. And then when they got onto the defence, Nesk caught his way up, 15 each between the two of them. Just absolutely unreal. And I mean, coming into it, I said, Liquid they are known for having a little bit of a slow start sometimes, but they woke up much quicker than they ever have done previously.
They did indeed. I mean, we're getting to the point where, you know, round 6 into the game, I thought TSM, they're looking pretty deadly. You know, Pojo Man looking more like Pogo Man. He was bouncing into action. We had the 2K, and then out of nowhere, Palu comes in, cleans them up like a spilt drink. As you said, on defense, Naughty Nesk just running rampant the entire time. It was wild, but I think it answered what we wanted from a series like that, right, Des? High-octane plays, kind of the turning of the tides as well, where TSM, they were playing aggressive. We saw the early fights that were coming out from them. Their defense looked very much like what I expected to see from Liquid.
Yeah, it did look really good. That first half, as we mentioned, going 3-3, it was kind of the expected scoreline, or at least what A said coming in. You know, expect to see kind of a balance these days on Villa quite a bit. And it looked like, I thought, going into the second half, okay, TSM on attack, kind of fancying there. They are quite structured. It's just that unknown factor, well, not even an unknown factor, it's a very well-known factor called the Nesk factor, where it just pops off, slays your whole team before you've even got inside the building, and you can't string together an attack from there. It was just one of them, I think, where you look at it as TSM, they'll look back at that game and say, well, being real, we had the right idea. We never really got the chance to execute the strategy we wanted to. We just got absolutely domed by Nesk in 3 of those final rounds. It was unbelievable.
It was some outrageous scenes. So let's have a look at some of them, as we do have the highlights from that series, and there was an awful lot. Tim, absolute carnage on the server tonight.
It really was, and the problem that you've got if you're any of the other teams in Group D right now is you're looking and you're thinking, right, let's be honest, Liquid are going through from this group. That's how it looks after that first game. That's what you're going to be thinking. So now you've got teams that are fighting over the second place. And I know, don't start tweeting me. People be like, it's one game in this. They're not going anywhere yet. But just looking at the performance, if Palu and Nesk carry on like that, we had a massive play from PSK inside of site as well. I don't want to just keep focusing on Palu and Nesk, because there were big moments from the rest of the roster as well. Liquid look good. Can you honestly say to me that seeing Liquid, if they keep performing like they just have, that they are not going to go through from this group? And I can't see it personally.
No, they look really good. They've come out looking absolutely luscious. And of course, as well, if there are 2 players that we're going to be shouting about, if it's Palu and Nesk and they're dropping a 30 bomb between the both of them, there's enough of a reason why we're giving them that hype. One thing I do want to mention, though, Des, for TSM, of course, as we've said, playing with a stand-in, it's never the best environment to be in, but they still made it look really good. That was a tight scoreline. Although Liquid have won,
yeah,
if you go back and look at it, right, it was a close game.
Yeah, I guess to some level, yeah. Once they started to run away in the second half, a bit rougher, but up to the half, I'd say it was a pretty balanced game overall. Listen, like, I know that they were sitting here and saying, okay, they've got to stand in, but it's not like they pulled any random Andy off the street to come and play a game. It is Pojo, and the guy can play bloody well. But he stepped into a spot, I think, in that game it looked like, where Pojo took the flex spot off Gio, and Gio moved into a more supportive role, probably because he feels a bit more comfortable being flexible in that case. In that game, we didn't see absolutely tons from Pojo. It might just be a bit of a learning experience. Give it a bit of time. Maybe you'll see them build up a bit of confidence against IG and then come battling back against Empire. But right now, I think, as I said, you're going to see Liquid sitting themselves as number one, and likely will after the next game if they play like that again. Then it's the war between Empire and TSM as to who goes through with Liquid.
Yeah, that's it. It really has caused a huge battle of attrition in this group now. It was always a stacked-looking group, and it is only going to get more stacked as we go. Because Liquid, they've claimed their first notch in the belt. Can they get themselves another one? They will be back up for seconds when we return after the break. So keep it locked if you want to see more from the best of Brazil.